So, hello, dear Nanobackers. Here's Mark.
And here's Max from Woodpecker Games, and we say hello to a new video update. Of course, without Fabian again today, because I think he's really finished after the weekend. He played a whole weekend tabletop with Infinity Miniatures, so he gets some rest.
I think he had also a beach volleyball tournament as well, didn't he? So, he was really busy.
I think. Yeah,
welcome back and welcome to the episode in which we want to talk about the daily life in Neo Eden. And Max and me were already talking again because we were preparing for the questions for about an hour about awesome stuff. We were reached out with a lot of nice questions to how people's real life in our ultra dystopian city looks like.
Ultra dystopian.
Yeah, it's really a bad place. So just relax, grab a coffee or whatever, and let's dive into the first questions from Tony L. We have
but first you have to know it is really cool for us that you have all of these questions, because at the beginning of the deployment of the world of Nanolith of Neo Eden, we spent a lot of time for all of these questions. How people live, how the government works, how police works, how all of them works, how it works with all of these nano particles in the air. So we read a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, and we were talking a lot. I mean, this time of world building was really one of the most intense artistic experiences I ever had in my life.
Yes.
We were talking really a lot about this world and how this city works. So we're really glad to share it with you.
Yes, of course.
This part of world building is really right at our hearts. So
yeah,
Max, are you ready?
Yeah, and what I want to say, the last thing is, the first time we have sometimes to think about, there's so many stuff people don't know because there's no space for them, because it's just for the frame of the game. But now you want to know it, and that's
exactly, because you couldn't pack all of this in a campaign. Even if you would do 10 videos, you couldn't tell all the stuff we were thinking about and how the world is. This is why this game is experiencing. It's about experiencing this world and diving right into it. And so let's start.
So great. Let's start.
So there's one very important question which I want to do first. It's, what is on the city's border? Is there a wall or a fence? What lies beyond it? Nuclear wasteland? So this is a very elementary, or very, very basic idea of our game. Where does the city end, and how do the borders of the city look like? Max, do you want to start?
Yeah, I think there's we can say there's no atmosphere behind the border. So living of ordinary ways can do that. But we can say there is some research. I think there is some research organizations from Babel and some bases outside it's researching the right word for researching and for all of them, because after the war, you have to say there's a lot of material from Alienware, Humanityware is there outside of the city, and Babel need all of this high-tech stuff for his plans in the city. So yet there is some people live outside, but
it's very important.
It. I don't want spoiler, but
now we have to stop it, because this area of the game is something which we are thinking a lot about, but this is also one of the most important things for you to experience in the second chapter, for example. There will be the first hints, and you should there is something out there, but we can't be too precise in what is out there. Now let's go to the topic of the border, because this is one of the main elements of the whole story of the city. We are talking about the black screen. The black screen is an artificial atmosphere which is spanning over the city, and this black screen grants the possibility for human life on the planet now, because the drop of the mothership, so when the mothership crashed into Earth, the whole atmosphere has been destroyed, but you know, do you know the film, the motion picture Eon, for example? This is a sci-fi vision of an Earth in which the atmosphere is so far destroyed that people can't live there anymore. But there are also like spots on which the atmosphere is not as much destroyed as anywhere else. So you have like a big imaginary room for thinking about how Earth could look outside the black screen. There's a lot of possibilities, but the black screen like grants an atmosphere in which human can live, and which is very like feasible for the nanomachines there. So they stay a lot of them stay inside the city. And this black screen, and just let's say this, is the main project of the Babel Corporation and the nanolith inside the Babel Tower. Like Babel is saying, the main propaganda is, we protect you via the black screen, and we try to expand the black screen further and further out of the city outskirts, like to make it even bigger. And someday, perhaps with your power, with your nanofragments, we can like span again the whole planet, and the whole planet is inside the black screen. This is the main propaganda of the Babel Corporation and the big goal they are selling to the people. So
yeah, and you don't New Eden is big.
Yeah.
Believe us that it's not a small city. When you take a look to the map, when you're in the TTS demo, you see the tower is really high. The city is really large. New Eden is a project based on the humanity together with the Zulu in the time called Eden. You know it from the intro.
That's also because I don't know who was it. Sorry, Max, just shortly interrupting you. I don't know who was it, but the guy in the comments who did like Google the coordinates for Neo Eden and for the resistance location, he was absolutely correct. It's in the middle of Mongolia.
Yeah,
it was where you have a lot of space, and the Zulu and the humanity were like building this big project up. So
yeah, this city was built as the path of the future. Zulu and humanity will live forever in peace in this city called Eden. It's culture and civilizations of different planets come together in this.
And people, perhaps we should say like this is a really spoiler heavy video. Like you are getting like really spoiled with a very lot of main ideas, and if you want to like be totally blank like the characters are, I mean, you will like see all this in the game as well. we will stay with the general ideas of things, but you should know, if you're watching this video, like a lot of experiences will also be transported in the game. But let's just go on.
Make a spoiler cut a spoiler in the beginning of the video.
But this is a video for people who want to get spoiled. Like enjoy, it's really cool.
So and that all of that based I think it's sometimes I like the idea of the name Neo Eden. I like the idea that we build a city that is the future for anyone, and now it's the last remnant of humanity, and it's also a cave. So we are
entrapped in our own dream.
In Eden.
Let's go. Let's go to the next question. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Are the borders of the different sectors protected? How many sectors are there? Alpha, beta, gamma.
True. There. Alpha, beta, gamma.
This is it. It's just 3 sectors. It's those areas are really broad. Like there's a lot of people living there. For the approximate like inhabitants of Neo Eden, we are always thinking about 1 billion people. So like not just a city, like, but the remnants of humanity, like a really, really big city, like all of the people are living there. And there are immense outsprawls outside the city where people are living like in this halfway protection under the black screen, but always like in a very difficult situation. This is the sector gamma. This is the most outlying place. In the middle of the city, there we have the Babel Tower. And around the Babel Tower, like let's get back in the middle of the city, around the Babel Tower, you have the sector alpha. Sector alpha is a very, this is the place where the opportunists live. Like this is the place where the people live who are working for the system. They are really rich. They get a lot of nanofragments for their living, and they are incorporated in the state mechanism of the central corporation of the Babel Corporation. And the Babel Corporation really like they structure the daily life of every inhabitant in sector alpha very strictly. Like imagine it like one of the centralistic systems of the 20th century, like the fascism or the socialist system. Like a central government is like organizing your daily life and like having everything under control. This is sector alpha, like a super absolutistic state form led by a corporation who tries to get all the nanofragments from the people.
Yeah, and that's, can I interrupt? And that's the point, because maybe we said it in another video, but let me say it again. The big thing is when you split it, when you get air inside, your body make a reproduction of nanofragments, and every time you split it out, you split new
when
fragments.
You breathe out,
new fragments in the air, and these fragments are the ground of life, the ground of food, and they're also the money in this life. Yeah, and that's everything. Why it counts. Your life is really
dependent on the amount of nanofragments you produce in your body. So,
and you have to go to this seed center.
Yeah.
To take
wait a second, Max.
Okay.
I have to really you have to get the hang of this thing, because otherwise all the other stuff doesn't make sense. When the nanofragments are everywhere, in the earth, in the air, in water, like in your body, a lot of them, and your body has the potential to recreate the nanofragments in your body. Like these nanomachines are like reproducing themselves, and as far as your DNA goes, you have a different possibility from individual to individual how many and how strongly this reproduction process is working. So if you reproduce a lot of those nano machines, you're a very valuable person. Yeah, you have a lot of money because you are producing money for the state. So this is a very important thing. And now we come to the seed centers. This is what Babel is doing with the nanofragments. Max, please.
Yeah, the seed center is like that. It sounds ridiculous, but the atmosphere is crashed, and we have a lot of bad things in the air. Also in the city of New Eden, we never can get it out. Something called cigars. You read it in the intro, and every time you breathe out nanofragments, they are not fresh. They're going a little bit crushed by breath out. So you have to go to a seed center, and they will put the nanomachine outside of your body in a really fresh form. Can I say it like that?
Yes, totally. I mean, you get imagine it like as if you get like milked or harvested. Yeah. You have a lot of nanofragments inside your body, and as soon as you lie down into one of these biotanks, which is Bob providing for you and for all his inhabitants of Neo Eden, you lie down and you get like flooded in a mixture of water and sick gas. And sick gas is an old weapon which Babel invented in the Great War against the Zulu, and which is, you see it in the comic, this is the thing where the Zulus are like melting as if they were wax. This is sick gas. It's like the nanofragments in your body are getting separated in a very, very destructive way from your body. And they're using just a little dose of this attack thing to make a process in which the nanofragments of your body they get outside of your body. You get like harvested. They come out, and the sick gas with all the nanofragments gets pumped somewhere else. And now Babel has your nanofragments from your body, and those are fresh nanofragments, not destroyed ones. High frequency nanopotential, to say it's like with the correct word, high frequency nanopotential, which is also a resource in our game. Okay,
so this we need, and we don't want spoiler, but Babel need this. Need Babel from us. So, and that's the point. And the problem is, each time you make that, it's like, feel like that. You're going first time in a seed center, you get 2,000 nanofragments this time. Then you will full of sick gas and other shit stuff. Then next time you come back, it's just 59%, and always like that. And it goes down, down, down how much you product in your body. Yeah. And when you come to like, okay, when you have 100 from 50 to 100% nanofragments, you can live in alpha, in the alpha sector. But when you come under 50%, you have to leave the sector and going to beta, sector beta. And that's really terrible, because your life is going to be down. And it's totally random how in which level you start. You can start at the alpha sector, and then you'll
this is very important. I mean, there's there is no genetical like clear way to say how many nanofragments your body will produce. So it's very, very much possible that your father and your mother are living in sector alpha, and then you come to the world and you just produce not as many because your body is not like suited up for nanofragments as well as your parents are, and then you have to live in sector beta or something like this. So the process of getting the nanomachines out of your body is very painful for your body, and your body starts to degenerate in the production value of nanofragments. So it's a downward spiral which is programmed into the process. Like even if you're really rich at the beginning, you will get downgraded at some point of your life if you're living long enough. And you will have to live in these worse sectors, because now let's go to the sectors. The sectors are separated, and they're separated and protected by the Babel Security Service from the sector alpha. The border to from sector beta to sector gamma is not so harsh to go through, because sector gamma is a really ugly place and you don't want to live at the borders of the screen. So everybody who is in sector beta tries to stay there, and the sector gamma inhabitants are like really poor. They cannot really move out there. I said it's a long distance. So you don't have to think about it as this is also very important. You don't have to think about it as a totally well protected state security system everywhere. Like in sector alpha, it's very prominent. In sector beta, there are places in which it is very prominent, but there needs to be place in a game like this and in a world like this for illegal actions. Like this state system is not having its eye everywhere, or sometimes if it's having its eye there, it's accepting that there is happening something else, because there are very powerful organizations in the other sectors as well, which are like also competing in certain areas over dominance with the Babel Corporation. So it's a fluid system of
and I feel sometimes the borders of the areas are some kind of nature areas. So you don't get, when you live in the alpha sector, you don't go to the beta sector. You have no business there.
Okay.
I just want to say that it's not possible to move free over the sectors.
Sector borders, exactly. And you will always get scanned. I mean, you have to think about it like this: as your whole consciousness actually gets like reproduced in the nano ether, Babel will have like all organical informations about your DNA code, about your fingerprints. So if they want to find you, they will always find you. It's like it's just a matter of there's so many people there's so many people that you really have to be like our characters, which will be like
just in this moment. I think I think about the thing Babel do with the samurais.
This is a crazy story hook. You will get this in the Ashitaka update, which I will give out, and you will see what Babel is able to do if he really wants to do you bad. Okay, let's go to the next question. What do people do to earn a living? I mean, this is what we said. There is not really earning a living in like you get paid in nanofragments. You get the possibility to use nanofragments in the sector alpha. You're also very close to the server center of the nanolith. So calculating power, Rechenkraft, I don't know the English word, like the possibility of computers to interact. The processor. The processor power, let's say it like this, is very high in the sector alpha. So if you are there and you've got nanofragments, you can live a really nice living. And yet there was a very important question, which I will just interweave with this one, about the school system. How does schools work in Neo-Eden? This is important to know, that in the sector alpha, we have a system of a centralized and let's say socialistic system, in which every inhabitant gets scanned very early by his abilities and his nanofragment potential, whether he is suited for state service or not. So for state service, like for Babel Corporation service, I mean, the state is a corporation, but and if they are like able to, if they are like so valuable that Babel says, hey, we want to have this guy or this person, this woman, they just take him into their own educational system, and they produce whatever worker they need. Like if they need somebody for labs, and this guy is suited, or this person is suited for labs, he will make a scientist out of it. If he's very strong with shooting, he will get part of the Babel Security Service, or the army system, so to say. And so there's the possibility for Babel to always just grab children he wants. And then everybody who's not suited for this kind of education will just get a normal job which is needed inside the system, and you get like paid in nanofragments and the server power which you're allowed to use. So this is how this thing works. in the sector alpha, in the sector beta, it's different?
Yeah, let me talk. In the sector beta, we have a little bit the same system, but there comes people, they are really bad. I dropped this name now because it's a spoiler video. It's the most important man after Dr. Babel you will find in this area is Mr. Miyamoto. Mr. Miyamoto is in Jacuzzi, not this thing with water. I mean, I talk about the bad Japanese guys.
Yakuza.
He's a Yakuza, and he makes.
And is the head of the 7 syndicates?
The 7 syndicates. Yeah, but there are the 7 syndicates. We can talk about later the 7 syndicates because they are a special. But he do a little bit the same like Babel do. He give people the possibility to live a good life in the beta sector, but for crime. You go on his service, you work for him, you make his thing for him, maybe dealing with drugs, something like that, and you get additional nanofragments paid by him that you can live a good life in the beta sector. So he's the only different possibility to make something out of your life when you are in the beta sector, because you don't can get up.
And infrastructure is very bad there. So you don't have any schools, you don't have any doctors, you have like just people doing people stuff. If there is a doctor, he can like treat people, but there is no system which is like saying there needs to be a doctor and he will get paid for his services or something. It's just a person who will give you a medical utilization, but you have just to pay him in nanofragments.
Yeah, and we can say something like that Babel and Miyamoto are very old people.
Oh yeah,
and they know each other.
Just have a look at the what's in the box banner on the campaign. Say you will see Miyamoto, like you will see his. He looks really crazy.
Yeah, and that's the point is we know that Babel knows about Miyamoto, but for Babel, it is okay in the beta sector that Miyamoto makes something like that, because he also keeps the people.
Yeah, he also keeps people in line. I mean, they also going to the seed centers. So actually, Babel doesn't know for real where Miyamoto gets the superfluous nanofragments. You will know during the story. After the 2nd chapter, you will know. But Babel does not know where the superfluent nanofragments are coming from, and so he just lets Miyamoto do the stuff because the people are even so going to the seed centers and get harvested.
And that's not the only possibility to find I think the question, what he want to know is there something to live? Also, how can I live, and what's my view of life? And you have the alpha sector, but it's randomly. You don't can chosen to live there. Then you can go to Miyamoto. Yes, okay. But there's a third way. Some kind of religions have built in the last years, and cults, and there's also a destruction possibility to live with all of the struggle in the world, but we will talk about that later.
We'll see this in the game, and there's a lot of space for crazy life concepts. I mean, we were talking about people, you will also meet a few of them, which are just very talented in manipulating the nanomachines and how they work. So let's say they don't produce so many nanofragments in a biological way, but they have like the possibility with their mind and with their body to technically and from your mind state manipulate the nanomachines very well. So you can have like super crazy effects, like people who are building, who are like have the possibilities to change into the nano ether like on just by will, because they don't need they have a very good, let's say, affiliation to the nano ether, and they are just living in the cyberspace world as mighty AIs. And so this is also like something which can be very potent, and sometimes those people can get graded up. I mean, there is a possibility in the seed center to always let your ability to check your abilities, and if you are like so super ambitious and can do a lot of crazy stuff, you can have also the possibility to get up and closer to the tower again. But this is just a very minor thing.
A last thing to say is, but also in the gamma sector is a way to get fragments. money. When you see that, there's this space with water, and when you take a look to the whole city, then you see you are down there on the water, and here are big cubes where the water from the Babel Tower and from the city comes out, because there's a lot of
water with sick gas,
and there's a lot of trash and something. But also, you know, the people in the tower, all of his trash come out. So that stuff for the people in the tower, it's trash, but for the people there, it's really important what comes out of the tower. And when you take a look to the alpha,
it's a bit of this Battle Angel Alita, isn't it? Like this big city with the trash grounds.
Yeah, when you see like that, then you see there are boats. You know, these people are in the Gamma sector. They have nothing. They have no potentials. The siege centers, the most siege centers are closed because you get not enough from Babel. So these jumping into this water and searching for trash and sell them, in first case on Miyamoto, and that's how Miyamoto regenerate fragments, because there's some kind of not shopping. Was ist Handel? There's some kind of
trading,
system,
trading.
There's some kind of trading system that comes down because you see there's it's an ecosystem. Each
sector.
Area and each sector, each area have his own ways to live and to get fragments. But
very multi-layered. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have just the last question: how do people travel inside Neo Eden? This is a very good question, because when you are thinking cyberpunk, you're always thinking like those floating things from the Blade Runner movie, and we totally have this. This is possible in Sector Alpha. You have a lot of nanofragments, so transportation can be anything, like even flying ships and stuff. But actually, as soon as you get in Sector Beta and Sector Gamma, travel becomes an ache, as it's really hard to travel from places to places. Perhaps you've seen that our map is just showing one view on the city, on this lake shore, so to say. And you see that the city is going to the horizon back there. How would you ever travel there by foot? You just won't. So people are living from a mobility standpoint quite a condensed life. They are staying in their sector parts, they are staying in their villages. And the closer you get to Sector Alpha, the possibility for travel grows. So the more nanofragments you have, you can like travel more easily, because you can fool machines with it. You can like do anything with it. Yeah. So
you have the power to do that.
Yeah. And I think so. To travel.
Yeah, and I
think you can just transpose it into electricity, and then you can have electric whatever.
And I think you don't think about traveling when you you struggle for the whole day for your life.
Yeah, so you have quite a big distance between possibilities of traveling. Yes. Okay, so I think this is a long video. I think we spoke a lot about Neo Eden. We were really happy to have you here. If I forgot something, if you have any more questions, just please post ahead. We are really glad if you enjoyed this episode. We can do another one with Neo Eden. We have so many things to talk about. So as you perhaps mentioned.
To talk about Neo Eden and the game it's
really, we love it. So
thank you
very much. Thank you very much. We will do the August Nakamura interview during this week, and you can really look forward to this, because he's a fantastic guy. You will really enjoy this video. So he's really charmant. Thank you so much for all your support. We're really, really happy to have you here in the project, and see you soon.
Bye. Nanobackers.
Bye.